Welcome everyone. Today we'll be talking about supplier relationship management in this presentations for you. So, supplier relationship management is nothing but aligns or provides structures and manages the supplier relationship. And if we can define it, the degree of definition is what we are talking around it. So, there can be relationship which might be loosely based upon, and it can be tightly knitted also. So, how do we go around it? Let us process the supply relationship management description. It aligns and integrates with what? The processes, the information, the cash flow, the supply chain network structures, social network, and the cultural issues. What we are talking about? We are talking about nothing but plans. We are talking about resources. We are talking about confirmations, adjustment of the relationship between the company and the key suppliers. Develop the network bonds of trust, commitment, cooperation, and dependence. Balances the level of power within the supply network. Contract administration is the genesis process for the supplier relationship management per se. Outcome of supply relationship management is integrate external organization into a company cross-functional team, develops an environment of trust between company suppliers and internal customers, manages external functions to meet business objectives. That is very vital. Ensuring relationship is mutually beneficial. Everybody ends up winning something or the other thing. There are no clear cut losers per se, and that is what supply relationship management is all optimally supposed to do. Engage challenge, ensure the skill of the supplier personal in achieving business goals, extend the company's influence on supplier, deliver maximum value to the company as on when on possible. Now this is a picture of a supplier relationship management. Mind you, we are talking about the relationship management, business management, the functional sponsored. We are talking about relationship managers as per se, the contract firms, and the customer, the end customers that goes around it. From here is what we look out here. This is the process that comes around here for every one of us, absolutely every one of us. The performance management and how does it goes around it. So are we looking at business management teams? Are we looking at functional sponsored? Are we looking at relationship manager to manage the customers, the contact administration, or the customer themselves? Enablers of SRM is effective contract administration process, agreement purposely structured for supply relationship management is all about agreement. Remember, we are talking about the vendors agreement, we're talking about the contract administration, we're talking about everything that can align between the company, the buyer, the supplier. This needs to be through the skilled, trained, and capable manpower. Leaders that should support and believe in supplier relationship value proposition, because it is with them that the success of the company will depend upon it. So let me give you the key indicators. The indicators which states the SRM, the supplier relationship management, has come to of all age, have attained a certain degree of maturity and development. We are talking into the three basic things, eventually will transform into five things. So first and foremost is the foundation, wherein it is just defined. Absolutely, there is nothing much more than the definition. It's just documented and it is never duplicated. Companies and supplier managements are identified and documented, that's it. But in basic, or should I say management, relationship management anticipates the early stages itself onward. Strategic sourcing processes for each relationship, a balanced two-way sets of relationship management processes takes place. Performance review is on a regular and a formal basis with action and follow-ups. And last but not the least would be advanced and the leverage one, where everything is defined, where everything is implemented, and in most of the cases duplicated with both the parties, the vendor and the buyer, and the buyer and the supplier. The way you want to go around it, the way you want to announce it, open information sharing for the relevant criteria such as capacity, demand forecasting, facilitates cross enterprise decision making. Cross functional relationship management team views optimal rationalizations, measure for alignment with organizational strategies. Strategic sourcing plans, key relationship begins to duplicate in the process of one organization. So allow me to take you through all the level 5 up till from level 1, which is just nothing but ad hoc. In this, the supply relationship management is very manual, very basic level. It is completely unpredictable. It is time consuming process, and it depends on the whims and fancies of the person involved into it. In fact, he or she can bring his or her personality into the process altogether. No forecasting, no planning takes place in this relationship. Suppliers are not even involved in anything but other than filling the form. Communication is mostly one way, and in response to the request for the internal customer, supplier performances are not evaluated. Did I say this is level one? Did I say this is an ad hoc basis? Information flows are again very erratic in nature and are largely unreliable. We move to the level two, wherein the supply relationship management is defined but still predictable. More than 50% of suppliers are not in SRM. More than 50%. That means we are just working with suppliers with whom we are comfortable with, and it is completely largely uncontrolled. Basic relationship forecasting planning takes place, but by SRM people, without the customers, without the suppliers on board, and the 40% accuracy is usually the rule of the game. Supplier at most are involved in responses to a request, but some key suppliers have annual agreements. When the release being generated by procurement, only these key suppliers are involved in process and product involvement. Others are asked for inputs on occasion. Communication procedures are defined, quarterly meetings identified, points of contacts, frequency, nothing is on a regular fashion, nothing is documented, everything is erratic, information flow is very cumbersome, and it is very difficult to find information relationship easier in a central repository. Let us go move to the level 3, which I say is managed, probably linked. Why? Because supplier relationship performance is predictable with more than 80% of the suppliers are in SRM process, the supplier relationship process. That means maximum people are in the ambit about it, but not still 100%. Relationship forecasting and planning takes place by none other but than the supplier relationship management people. That means within the company itself, collaborating with the customers and suppliers. 80% accuracy is mostly typical. You are still not there and achieving the 100% accuracy level. Why? The majority of suppliers are not involved in the process. That's one of the major lacunae out here in this process. Suppliers are often involved in annual planning, budgeting discussion, joint communication process are in place and institutionalized. Formal relationship structures are in place in both sides. Executive sponsors, relationship managers, teams. Supplier performance is defined and measures aligned with strategy. Relationship performance reviews are in a continuous flow, but they are not still been documented. Definitely everything happens on an annual basis, but these things can be still be improved. Let us move to the leverage of the level 4 material, wherein everybody is in the ambit of supply relationship management. Performance and predictability, all the suppliers are there in the ambit. Relationship forecasting and planning takes place by SRM people and suppliers jointly. Often manage this process without the company's involvement. So minimum accuracy level is again 80%. Suppliers are involved in the process of product improvement and often lead this effort. Why? Because this is supplier driven, in fact. So that is why we are calling it the leveraged and not the company driven initiative. Suppliers are a formal part of our annual planning and budgeting discussion. Communication across companies is almost frictionless. Trust is high. Open book environment exists. Sense of belonging is there. Company relationship runs together. Did I say sense of belongingness is there? Suppliers and company performance are clearly defined, clearly stated, clearly can be measured by both the parties, and both can understand each other's pains and pleasure points. Thereby, relationship performance reviews are two ways, sometimes led by the supplier. Information flows are integrative. Two-way information on relationship is easily available. Suppliers are active and formal members of the process team. Suppliers share responsibility for performances. Now, this is level 5, and did I say this one is an optimized level where everybody is into the formal documented process? Supplier shares in the rewards of their performances. Customers share the responsibilities of performing improvement. customer shares the rewards of the performance improvements too, as in the rewards, as in the responsibilities. Everybody is in the ambit. Everybody is a win-win game. It's a win-all game altogether. Supplier, customer, information technology system run deeply connected. In fact, there is two-way interaction. The EDI takes place, electronic data interface change actually takes place with the IT system. Supplier, customers, and the process team members feel like they are all in this together. They need to be floating or sinking as one another has to do around it. So process management and optimization across the network is of optimum focus, and nobody wants to blink an eye for it. Now, if you look into it, this is what the maturity level is all about it, and this is what we have done so. Right. Now, this is how it come from the ad hoc methods to define to link to integrated and then to eventually level 5 of optimize that comes around it. That is what implements the lead time, the safety stock, the perfect orders, and this is where everybody stands to gain as the process goes around it. So supplier relationship management, the result if you look into it is 5% improvement, means reduce time to connect to a new supplier, reduce transaction cost, lead reduction times. That is what we are looking into is, but ever more than 40% things reduce time is less than 9%, 7%. See the improvement if it is gone to 40% and the difference it has reduced by approximately 2.5 times. Right. So this is where you need to understand if you can amalgamate each other's experiences, technicalities, viabilities, understanding, information, cooperation takes place, and the performance improvements are bound to happen. That means there would be a reduced time to your new supplier, reduction, reduced transaction processing cost, lead time reduction is there, decrease in data errors, increase in perfect orders, reduced safety stock, no inventory, in fact, and reduced invoice discrepancies. Absolutely no confusion between one another. That means there is a sense of trust and mutual respect for one another. Supply improvement for measurement programs is where the average supplier performance is increases by 23%, where there is an SPM or SRM program which is there, but when there's no program it is around 13%, 10% less. Similarly for on-time delivery, again a difference of 12%. In terms of quality, again a whopping difference of 16%. In cases of services around 4%, but believe me or not, we need to have a supplier performance improvement program, and that is can be done only with supplier relationship management. This is the reason why efficiency increases by leaps and bounds. With this I come to an end of this presentation of supplier relationship management. I'm sure you must have enriched the understanding why there should be a close connect between a supplier and the company, the buyer and the supplier, they go hand in hand. And with this, thank you once again for watching the video till the very end.